Freedman's Bank. President Abraham Lincoln established the Freedman's Bank on March 3, 1865, as part of the Freedmen's Bureau. As the Civil War drew to a close, the United States Congress and President Lincoln recognized the need to aid newly freed black men and women in their transition to freedom. To support the land grants and other elements of the Freedmen's Bureau Act, a Freedman's Bank was established to help newly freed slaves navigate their financial lives. 5 weeks later, after the creation of the Freedman's Bank, President Lincoln was assassinated. 7 years later, in June of 1872, the U.S. Congress voted to permanently close the Freedmen's Bureau. The bank, however, remained operational, and in 1874, Frederick Douglass was asked to run the Freedmen's Bank. Frederick Douglass wrote, "The whole thing was beautiful. I had read of this bank when I lived in Rochester, and had indeed been solicited to become one of its trustees, and had reluctantly consented to do so. But when I came to Washington and saw its magnificent brown stone front, its towering height, its perfect appointments, and the fine display it made in the transaction of its business, I felt like the Queen of Sheba when she saw the riches of Solomon that have had not been told me." The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 44. "He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail." Redlining. For decades, many banks in the U.S. denied mortgages to people, mostly people of color in urban areas, preventing them from buying a home in certain neighborhoods or getting a loan to renovate their house. The practice, once backed by the U.S. government, started in the 1930s and took place across the country. That includes in many of the nation's largest cities, such as Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, Tampa, and others with large minority populations. The term redlining is a nod to how lenders identify and reference neighborhoods with a greater share of people deemed more likely to default on mortgage. Using red ink, lenders outline on paper maps the parts of a city that were considered at high risk of default, as well as more desirable neighborhoods for approving a loan. Riskier neighborhoods were predominantly Black and Latino. In a 2012 announcement from the Justice Department, it was revealed that Wells Fargo agreed to pay at least $175 million to settle accusations that it discriminated against both Black and Hispanic borrowers during the housing boom. The Justice Department announced that Bank of America had charged 200,000 minority homeowners higher interest rates and fees than white borrowers who were similarly qualified with similar credit ratings. The Economic Policy Institute reported, much like Wells Fargo and Bank of America, Citigroup faced serious lawsuits after it was revealed that it gave Black homeowners loans with higher interest rates and fees that eventually forced them into foreclosure and resulted in massive defaults, Reuters reported in 2014. The book of Zephaniah chapter 2 verse 1. "Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired." As of today, there are over 20 Black-owned and managed banks in operation, such as Citizens Trust Bank in Atlanta, Georgia, One United Bank in Miami, Florida, Mechanics and Farmers Bank in Durham, North Carolina,